I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. I got Alabama beating the absolute brakes off of Auburn. It's not so much that I believe in Alabama, because I really don't. It's more so of Auburn sucks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the part 2 to the Week 13 preview. Yes, that is a mouthful. And for those of you that didn't see the first one, the part 1, the reason I decided to break these up into 2 is because if I made it one big video itself, it'd be like 55 minutes. The main reason I decided to break them up is because I think the Auburn-Alabama game and the Michigan and Ohio State game, it deserves its own entire video itself. And plus also, some people don't care about the Michigan and Ohio State game, and some people don't care about the Auburn-Alabama game. They just want to see those previews. So you get the point. It's Black Friday. I hope all of you had an amazing Thanksgiving. And this is how crazy Black Friday is. I had to wake up real early at like 7 a.m. to go to Publix because I had to get something. I can't even remember what I got. And there was some dude checking out, and he had a TV. And I looked at him and said, yo, I didn't even know Publix sold TVs. And he said, yeah, me neither. If that doesn't describe Black Friday in America, I don't know what will. And for those of you that don't know, Publix is basically just like a better version of Walmart. It's a pretty good grocery store that's based out of Florida. We also got a bunch of people that watch this channel that aren't even from America, and I greatly appreciate you guys. Believe it or not, college football is just not an American thing. There's people that love this sport that aren't even from the country. That's so unreal to think about. Once again, I'm extremely thankful for you guys in the community we've built. Just a little FYI for those of you that aren't from America. Yes, we love our football, but also people go crazy on Black Friday deals. All right, this intro's already been way too long. I apologize for that. We're here to preview the Iron Bowl, the Tennessee Vandy game, and a couple others. All right, Matt, blah, blah, blah. Shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Come on, man. You know how we do it. First things first, we're starting out with our 11 a.m. games. Clemson and South Carolina. 2 or 3 weeks ago, probably wouldn't even preview this game, but now it's a little more interesting for the fact that Clemson, not so good, or as good as they used to be. In South Carolina, they're coming off of that crazy upset over Tennessee. Good old Spencer Rattler, he looked phenomenal in the game, and I'm going to be curious to see if, hey, was that game against Tennessee a fluke, or can he do it again? As to where it stands, and this shocks me, Clemson is a 14.5-point favorite. I don't like that. I have no problem with Clemson being the favorite, but I would like to see that line around 6 or 7. 14.5, way too high. Most of you know how I feel about Clemson, and I think everybody feels this way. They're not that good. They play in the Cupcake Conference. Although I like to joke and make fun of the Big Ten, they're a decent conference at the end of the day. The Pac-12 and ACC, pitiful. For example, if you take Texas, Penn State, LSU, put them in the Pac-12 or ACC, more times than not, they're going to be in that championship game every single year. Clemson is just simply not that good, and I'd say one of their main problems, I've said it for the past 2 years, is DJ Uiagalelei. In the sport of college football, unless you have a all-time generational defense like Georgia had last year, you're only going as far as your quarterback can take you. Has Clemson struggled on defense at times this year, like against Notre Dame and Wake Forest? Yes, but the problem is when they do struggle on defense, they don't have a quarterback and offense that can keep up. That's been the remedy for Clemson the past 2 or 3 years. Their offense, they're stuck in 2016. They haven't evolved. That's why I give Saban so much credit. Saban evolves over time, and that's why he's the greatest of all time. Although, yeah, Alabama's having a down year, they're still great on offense. Remember Alabama 10 years ago? They was a defensive team. Their problem with Clemson is in 2022, they're still looked at as a defensive team and program. Something's got to change, and oh wow, this is my first time seeing this. I don't really pay attention to it because I don't think it matters, but Clemson on the matchup predictor, according to ESPN, they have a 89% chance to win. I just don't get it because South Carolina, they're on an all-time high, and you got to think about it. This is South Carolina's Super Bowl. Similar to the Tennessee game, they have nothing to lose and everything to gain. On the flip side, Clemson has nothing to gain and everything to lose. You look at the stats and compare the quarterback, and even with Rattler having that amazing game last week, he still had a shaky season. And if you want to look at it on paper, DJ Uiagalelei has had a better season. A main reason Rattler's numbers look terrible is because, number one, I think South Carolina has the worst offensive line in the SEC, and number two, his receivers do not help him out at times. Granted, yes, everything clicked and worked against Tennessee, but can it click and work again? That'd be something to pay attention to. I think whoever plays the best at the quarterback position, that team wins the game. If DJ Uiagalelei plays out of his mind, Clemson wins. If Rattler plays out of his mind, South Carolina wins. All in all, though, this game really excites me because if South Carolina, you don't got to win, but if you can compete, make it a 3 or 7 point game, I think you'll start getting more respect from the rest of the SEC. Although South Carolina, they've had an up and down year, it's the way you finish. If you can finish on a strong note heading into next year, That could change everything. I'm not the biggest fan of Shane Beamer. It's not that I don't believe in him. I just got to see more out of him. I got to go with my gut feeling, and I'm rolling with the upset. I got South Carolina and Spencer Rattler pulling off the upset. The 14.5-point underdogs. They win this game by 7. I don't care that the game's at Clemson. South Carolina, they're hot, and it's kind of like March Madness. You got to roll with the hot team. They got the hot hand, and it comes down to this, and I know I've said it, and I sound like a broken record player, but I can't emphasize it enough. DJ Ugabadoogie ain't that good. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. Now, he may come out here against South Carolina and go 25 for 30, 300 yards, and 3 touchdowns, but that still doesn't mean he's that good. I can't even sit up here and say, hey, I don't know what I'm going to get out of him, because I do. We know how he plays. For every 1 or 2 great throws he has 3 or 4 bad ones. Give me South Carolina, Beamer ball. What do y'all think about that? I wasn't going to talk about this game, but hey, why not? Because it does matter. We got LSU and Texas A&M playing at 6 p.m. Everyone talks about TCU being fraudulent, but here's my question to all of you. Is LSU really the 5th best team in the country? I don't know. I think we can all agree the only reason they're ranked 5th is because they beat Alabama, and I don't care that Alabama's having a down year. Anytime you beat Bama, you're immediately going to shoot up the rankings, and everybody's going to give you a ton of respect. It's the same thing with Tennessee. They beat Alabama, and everyone started comparing Tennessee to 2019 LSU. That's just how it is. You beat Bama, everybody thinks you're the real deal. I'm not saying LSU isn't the real deal. I think they're a good team. I think they're a solid team, but they're not a great team. For example, I don't look at LSU and even think for a second they can compete for a national championship. They have over-exceeded expectations just to get to this point. On the flip side for A&M, who in their right mind is picking A&M to win a game? Like, seriously, that program's a dumpster fire. I'm going to keep it short and simple. Brian Kelly, he gets the job done. LSU wins by, I'll say 14. They don't blow them out, but they win by double digits. Last but not least, though, before we get into the Iron Bowl, we got Tennessee and Vandy. Once again, if this was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have previewed this game, but now it's a little more interesting. Check this out. Tennessee's only a 14-point favorite against Vanderbilt. For all of my non-SEC fans, some of you may know this, some of you may not, Vanderbilt is one of the worst programs, not just in the SEC, but the entire country. They're just not a football school, and we'll leave it at that. However, they're on a 2-game win streak coming off of a top 25 win against Kentucky, and they also beat Florida. Kind of a similar situation with South Carolina. This is their Super Bowl. If Vanderbilt wins this game, they're going bowling. On the flip side for Tennessee, you don't have your Heisman contending quarterback, and everyone's depressed. You're no longer playing for a playoff spot, and this game doesn't even matter on the grand scheme of things. This is one of those dangerous games because Vanderbilt's going to be hyped for it, and Tennessee, they don't really care about it. I don't care. These players can say they care. Josh Heupel can say it's a big-time game, but it's not. Everybody and their mom knows this. The game is at Vanderbilt, by the way, which really doesn't matter because most Vanderbilt home games turn into away games. I see a lot of people picking this upset, and I get it, trust me. I even saw Kirk Herbstreit say something about Tennessee's going to lose to Vandy, but I can't pick Vanderbilt over Tennessee. I got Tennessee winning this one by double digits. I don't think Joe Milton, the backup quarterback for Tennessee, is near as good as Hendon Hooker, but Tennessee just got way too much talent to lose to Vandy. Look, I get it. I know what all you're going to say. Well, Matt, they got blown out by South Carolina. That was last week. I just can't call that upset. But I will say this, I would not be shocked if Tennessee does lose. Finally, though, moving on to the main topic of the main encore. The main reason you clicked onto this video, we got to preview the Alabama versus Auburn game. It goes without being said, this is one of the least hyped up Iron Bowls I can remember. And the reason for that is because it's so strange for Alabama or Auburn not to be ranked inside the top 4, 5, or 6 competing for the playoff, and this game having major ramifications on the line. What has made the Iron Bowl the best, not one of, the best rival matchup in the past 20 to 30 years is this game has so much stuff on the line. You got to think about it. This game, more times than not, has been a game where the winner of it either A, goes to the SEC championship, or B, goes to the national championship. But this year, it does not appear to be the case unless some complete chaos has happened. And trust me, I already made a video talking about how Alabama still has a decent chance. So if you haven't seen that, and when I say chance to make the playoff, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I explain everything. Not going to do it in this one. Is Alabama out of the race? No, but they're going to have a lot of chaos to happen for them to get in. So I wouldn't go as far as to saying nothing is on the line, because there could be a potential playoff spot on the line for Bama. Outside of that, at the end of the day, it is the Iron Bowl. There is bad blood, and you want to win this game regardless of nothing's on the line. This is my first time I've even taken a look at the numbers. Alabama is a 22-point favorite, which I guess I can see why. As a Bama fan, would I even think about putting money on that? Absolutely not. I've thought the past 4 or 5 games where Bama's been favored by 10 points or more. It was crazy because this Bama team is simply not that good compared to other Bama teams. Keep that in the back of your mind. I'm not saying compared to the rest of college football. I'm talking about previous Bama teams. This team doesn't have that dog-like mentality. They don't have this it's football or nothing mentality. It seems like they're laid back and not aggressive, but just, I don't know what word I'm looking for. It seems like this Bama team's not locked in and they're lackadaisical at times. I have this inside joke with my friend and it describes this Bama team. Sometimes we may be good. Sometimes we may be bad. That describes this Bama team. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're bad. You don't know what's going to happen. And the most surreal part about that statement is it's not just one game to the next, it can be one quarter to the next. Alabama can have a quarter where they have 4 straight 3-and-outs, and the next one they can score 28 points. And as a Bama fan, that's been the most frustrating part about this season. I know we have talent. We have 2 of the top 5 draft picks on one team, and yet we've had a disappointing season. That's what disappoints me. If we didn't have the talent and we was losing these games or playing them close, it wouldn't hurt me so much. But the fact I know we have the talent to win a championship and we're not performing at that level, that's what gets to me. On the flip side for Auburn, they're 5-6. This team is flat out awful. And when I say that, I mean it. They're flat out awful. They're pitiful, and they're just not good. You can take that to the bank. I've watched the games. Outside of their play on the field, the football program itself, it's a crap show. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows who's going to be the next head coach. I personally think Cadillac Williams has done a fantastic job, but I think everyone knows he's not going to get the job. Should he get the job? In my opinion, I say, hey, why not? Give him a couple years. Worst case in scenario, you go 7-5, 8-4, then you move on to a big-time name. But you have to understand Auburn, it's one of the best jobs in the country, and they're not going to settle down with Cadillac Williams. They want a big-time name. Do I agree with it? Not really, but it is what it is. The only thing I'm going to say about it is if Cadillac Williams can somehow, some way keep this game close, doesn't even have to win it, but if you can keep it a 3 or 7-point game, I think Auburn should highly consider him for the job. The players love him. The fans love him. Why not? That's a different conversation for a different day. Let's get down to business. When I tell you Auburn sucks, I don't say that to say it. I mean it. Their quarterback on the year has 1,500 passing yards. He's barely completing 50% of his passes, has 6 touchdowns, which is miserable, to 7 interceptions, and a QBR of 46. Robbie Ashford, yes, he can scramble. He's a dual threat quarterback, but he is bad compared to SEC quarterbacks. He's not that good, and I think we all know where I'm about to go with this. What is the remedy to beating an Alabama Nick Saban-led team? You gotta have great quarterback play. It's the same thing I said about Jaden Daniels. I said it 2 or 3 weeks before the game that Jaden Daniels will give that Alabama defense problems. It's a proven fact that Alabama struggles the most with dual threat quarterbacks that have a great arm. The problem with Robbie Ashford is he's a dual threat quarterback and he can run, but he has a terrible arm. That's the problem. You can't just be good at running or good at throwing. More times than not against Bama, you gotta be good at both. The one bright side about Auburn, they have one of the best running backs in the SEC, maybe a top 7 or 8 running back in the country in Tank Bigsby. I do expect Tank to get over 100 yards because Auburn's going to feed him the rock. And this Bama, not even just the passing defense, the rushing defense, the Bama defense and all, hasn't been too outstanding. I've been disappointed in the offense at times, but I've really been more disappointed with the defense. This Bama team is kind of soft, so I do expect Auburn to run the ball on them and see some success. On the flip side of the ball for Alabama, you're not going to stop them. I expect Alabama to hang up at minimum 35 points. When I say this Auburn team sucks, I'm talking about the defense, the special teams, and the offense. And the truth is, even if you have a good defense, Bama is still going to put up 30. And if you have a bad defense, yeah, good luck stopping Bryce Young. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. I got Alabama beating the absolute brakes off of Auburn. It's not so much that I believe in Alabama, because I really don't. It's more so of Auburn sucks. I don't believe in Bama. This Bama team ain't that great, but this Auburn team's just flat out pitiful. They're really bad. Like, bad. For that reason, I got Bama winning this one 42-14. Don't expect it to be a close game. It's not. I don't care that it's the Iron Bowl. At the end of the day, Auburn does not have the dudes to compete. I am very curious, though. Let me know your thoughts down below. But